Welcome back, guys, to Sporting with Smitty. I hope everybody had a great new year. I know I certainly did. Even though the Patriots did fall to Buffalo on the road 27-21. And it is official. This is the worst season Bill Belichick has ever had as a head coach of the New England Patriots. We all saw it coming. Some of us saw it coming. Some of us kind of expected to be better. I expected us to be a lot better than this year, but it's just not how it was, unfortunately. And let's get into the game. Obviously, Zappe had a really rough start to this game. He was 16 of 26, 209, no touchdown passes, and 3 killer interceptions, including just staring down his receiver bad, just tossing it right to the corner. Just not a good game for him. It was a rough one all the way around, honestly. It started off good, and I mean, I got to give Jalen Reagor credit because that was a great run back. Great run back to start the game. It felt like, hey, we got a shot today. We really do. Just unfortunately, the offense could not get it going in time. Thankfully, the defense made unbelievable stops when they needed to. The offense, just did not put it together in time. And I guess that's just the way it is with this team right now, unfortunately. So the leading rusher was of course Zeke once again. 14 carries, 39 yards. Obviously, not the best game, but hey, you got a touchdown out of it. Also, Bailey Zappe as well made some good plays running out of the pocket, getting out of the way of pressure, seeing an opening and taking advantage of it. And he got a 17-yard touchdown kind of in the second quarter, I believe, that really put us back in the game. So he had 5 carries, 37 yards, and a touchdown. Kevin Harris had 2 carries, 15 yards, no scores. And then Demario Douglas had a couple end-around runs that they just weren't going anywhere. And it ended up with 3 carries, 12 yards. So, receiving, honestly, very, very just blah. Kevin Harris led it, mostly with that one big run that put us in scoring position. Kevin Harris had 2 catches, 54 yards. He was the leading receiver on the day. Jalen Reagor had 1 catch, 39 yards. Gesicki had a couple of good catches, 4 catches, 35 yards. Demario Douglas, he had 1 bad drop in the middle of the field during the game, but he still had 4 catches for 35 yards. 3 catches for 31 yards. Sorry about that. Tyquan Thornton had a couple catches, 3 for 24. Devontae Parker only had 1 catch for 15 yards, but I got to give it to him and his effort, most of all on that god-awful pick 6. It honestly was so frustrating to see because it's like nobody tried to bring Douglas down. Nobody gave it any kind of effort. We saw arm tackles. It was really only Devontae Parker who was rushing, and he was, like a fire went under his ass, and he just went for that tackle. Unfortunately, he scored, but still, you got to applaud the effort for Devontae Parker. He's really been showing a lot of effort these last few weeks. He knows that, hey, we got some missing pieces on offense. I have to step up, and he has been doing that when he is given the opportunity. And obviously, Buffalo had the clamps on him today, so we weren't expecting too much. Now the defense. Let's go back to the offense. The offense, for me today, received a D. It's that simple. 4 turnovers in the first quarter is awful. And honestly, we should have lost probably 49-10 the way it was going, because of just how poorly our offense was playing and just handing it over to Buffalo and giving them all the position in the world to score. Thankfully, our defense is just rock solid. Even with the amount of talent that we're missing, still rock solid in keeping Buffalo out of the end zone, especially now that Buffalo is really hitting their stride offensively. But I will give the offense a D. The only reason why it's not an F is because they were showing potential late in the game. They were moving the ball downfield pretty well. They were missing some blitzes, obviously, because Zappe got hit quite a bit. Took a couple sacks that he shouldn't have. But, that kept them out of the F range for me. Just the way they were able to at least put some points up on the board when they needed to. Now going to the defense, honestly, for me, it's a B plus. I mean, the only reason why I say it's B plus and nothing else is and not higher is because they could not get stops late in the game to really just get the ball back and give us a chance to win the game. But that's not surprising. That's a little bit of the offense's fault because they're going 3 and out, 1, 2, 3 and out in about 2 minutes. It's giving no time for the defense to relax or take a breather on the sidelines. So they're tired. They're tired, and they ran out of gas defensively. Plus, Josh Allen is ridiculous. His ability to get out of the pressure, move around the pocket, run for first downs is honestly he's definitely one of the most exciting quarterbacks, if not one of the best quarterbacks in football right now. But overall though, Alex Austin made a brilliant play on that interception, really disguising his coverage, and then at the last second getting in there and getting that INT. What a play by him on that play. Was able to get us the ball back, and we were able to at least I think we got a touchdown out of that drive, or at least we drove down the field. So those type of plays we need. Those type of plays we do, in fact, need to give our offense a chance, even though, unfortunately, they're just not that good right now. So now we're going to move on to something I'm going to do now. Who stays and who goes, really. And it's very simple. I'm going to go through the entire roster, really, at least the starters. And who do we keep? Who do we let go? So starting with Zappe, for me, you have to dump Jones. You have to somehow find a way, if you can, trade him for a low pick, and maybe turn that pick into something else. But you got to get rid of Mac Jones. Mac Jones is broken, and there's no way to fix him in New England. He's done. Bailey Zappe, unfortunately, this is who he is. He'll look like a pretty solid quarterback, a stable quarterback that could start a few games for you, maybe win one, have a solid game, no turnovers, just good all-around quarterback play. Then he will follow it up with just, wow, how are you in the NFL? You wouldn't last in the CFL, you wouldn't last in the USFL, you wouldn't last in the XFL. Who is this guy? And that's just who he is, unfortunately. He's proving that right now. That's why, for me, you have to keep him at least, as a backup quarterback. This is who he is. That's just how it is. So, keeping Zappe as a backup for emergency situations, I think, is a solid plan. Look going ahead into the future. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, he's been one of the most reliable guys we've had on offense. He's been really running the ball well, even though the yardage doesn't show for it. But he is excellent in pass blocking. He's great catching the ball on those little plays to the flat, or even on a screen play. He's able to make those plays still. In short yardage situations, he's still been pretty solid for us. So I would at least hope that they would let him come back to training camp next year to see if he can get a spot back on the roster, at least. Kevin Harris, another good all-around back who has definitely big potential in the NFL. Unfortunately, we just have a stacked running back room right now with Stevenson and hopefully Elliott next year. It depends on what Bill will do next year, or what the new coaching staff is going to do, whether they want to bring Ezekiel Elliott back or if they want to focus on the new Kevin Harris and Stevenson combination. Another receiver, Jalen Reagor. I don't see him coming back next year. He's just been kind of a fill-in guy for right now, just to come in when there's injuries and say, hey, try to make some plays for us. Excuse me. And he has. He's made some plays for us. He's also made kind of some bad drops. Go back to the Washington game where he had it in his hands, a guaranteed touchdown that he dropped. Mike Gesicki, I would love to see him come back. Since Henry's been out, he's been very good at tight end for us. But I don't think it's going to happen. So I see him possibly going. Demario Douglas, this guy is the future of the Patriots receiving core. You need to build around him. You need to get other slot guys or other receivers that could take the pressure off of him and use him on the outside, use his speed to his advantage. Throw deep with him. If we get a quarterback in the draft that can actually throw the dang ball downfield consistently and accurately, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, hopefully, then put Douglas on the outside and get a couple guys in either the draft or in free agency to stick them in the slot so they can take the pressure off of Douglas and Thornton so where they can use their speed to their advantage. Tyquan Thornton, obviously keeping. He's just too valuable right now. And unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to show it right now. There's still a lot of, kind of kinks to work out with him. His route running, for example, has not been too good, but I see that another offseason, another training camp, he can get that right real quick. Devontae Parker, he has shown last week that he is definitely worth a second look for him to be coming back next year. I mean, I would love to see him come back because he's shown a lot of pride. He's shown a lot of hard work. He's shown a lot of hustle on the field for this team these last few weeks. But unfortunately, when you have a guy like Kendrick Bourne coming back, who I absolutely love. So Kendrick Bourne coming back, Demario Douglas, and Tyquan Thornton, that's a loaded receiving room, and especially with a possible draft pick coming in, you don't know if there's any room for him. The only way I can see them having him come back is maybe he can help train the younger guys. So he can help get Douglas going. He can help Tyquan Thornton with some route running issues. Maybe. Obviously talked about Zeke. But Pharaoh Brown. Yeah, he had a fumble today, but you know what? He is an excellent blocking tight end. I'm not saying he's Gronk, obviously, but he has that ability to really block for the running back and open up those holes for the running back. So I would love to see Pharaoh Brown come back, especially if Henry and Gesicki are leaving. I'd love to see Henry back. He's my favorite of the two between him and Gesicki, but depends on how much he's going to be worth. He's been one of our more reliable receiving options this year. So we'll see. This is where it gets a little tougher on deep. Well, not really tougher. Just a couple players that might be leaving because of what their contract status or what they're projected to get in free agency. So Duggar, he is a free agent after this season. I mean, man, it stinks. It really does stink because he was definitely a steal in the 2020 draft. He has just such a high ceiling to what he can do defensively, where he can go, whether it's nickel, whether he's a safety, any really position, really. He's been shown to really make big plays. Juwan Bentley, definitely a keeper. He should stay. He has shown that he can lead this defense in play calling, etc. Anthony Jennings, Alabama guy. Ever since he's had a couple, bumps in the road with injuries during training camp, but this year, especially these last few games, he has made big tackles on the line of scrimmage. He's a monster. He's been able to get in on the quarterback a few times, rush the quarterback out of the pocket, but hey, I'm willing to see him continue the development in training camp, and I hope he comes back. I really do. I hope we don't get rid of him. Tavai. Ooh, what a monster this guy is. Excellent linebacker. He can rush the quarterback. He can drop back into coverage pretty well. He struggles in coverage a bit at times, but hey, like I said, training camp, especially another training camp with a mind like Belichick on defense, maybe he can do something, but that depends if Belichick comes back. Christian Barmore, keeper. He is the anchor of the defensive line. He's becoming the Will Fork. It's like he's a combination of Will Fork and Richard Seymour. I mean, He can anchor the line of scrimmage, and he can also bring pressure on the quarterback, and heavy pressure too. I mean, you saw it against Denver. He was a one-man wrecking crew in that game. So, I mean, another guy you've got to keep. Lawrence Guy Sr., he's a veteran. He's been with us for, I think, at least 2 Super Bowls, if I'm not mistaken. It depends on what Bill Belichick wants to do with him. So he's been with us for 2 Super Bowls, and he's won 1 with the Patriots, being that one against the Rams. He's been a very reliable guy on the defensive line. It just depends on the fact that he's at that age to where you don't know. So it depends. I don't see. Maybe Bill will flop him for a draft pick for a team that is really needing a defensive end right now. Depends, but I can see him possibly getting traded this offseason, which really sucks because he's been another key part of our defensive line for the last few years. Jonathan Jones, it's more of a love-hate relationship with him. There are times when he's been really good, and there are times when he's just been getting cooked on defense and in coverage. So that's definitely a guy that we might not be seeing back next year, especially with Christian Gonzalez coming back, who, he should have been the defensive rookie of the year this year. He was definitely on that track. The way he was playing early in the season against some of the best receivers in football. I mean, stopping A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and then, against... and then the next week, the next few weeks against Dallas. I mean, and Miami as well. So, Jonathan Jones, he might be gone. Miles Bryant, another guy that has problems getting. It's really another love-hate relationship with this guy. There are times where he's excellent in coverage. There's times where he is excellent in the kick return game. Then there are times where you're just like, dude, what are you looking at on defense? Like, where are you supposed to be in coverage? Because, I mean, the quarterback just read you like a book and it looked easy. So, but I expect to see him back. He's still a young talent. He still brings a lot to the team defensively. Dietrich Wise Jr., another guy that I am very looking forward to and to seeing how much he can develop over the year. He had a sack. Over the years. He had a sack against Buffalo, and again, another guy that I very fully expect to see back. Josh Uche, a free agent coming up this offseason. I hope if he's not too expensive, maybe we bring him back in, because with we do have a lot of cap space. But I hope to see us at least invest into some offensive line with that cap space. And offensive line is very, very the average price for offensive linemen and the value of having a really good offensive line has skyrocketed recently. So it's going to be, who knows if we're going to be able to afford him. It might have to be him going or Duggar going. So we just have to wait and see. Alex Austin, he's definitely he's one of those guys that is definitely a player that can come in certain formations. So he, especially next year with, like I said, Gonzalez coming back, I don't see him being able to get a lot of time on the field. So, but then again, like I said, maybe he'll show something in training camp. Maybe he'll do something, and he'll be able to, he'll be able to make his mark and get a spot. Excuse me. Jalen Mills, I want him gone. I've never really liked him. He's struggled in coverage a lot, unfortunately. And it's honestly been a pain to watch him, a pain in the ass at times. So, no disrespect, but I hope he doesn't come back. Keon White, another prospect that we drafted this year. Definitely a guy that I would love to see get more playing time, especially with his aggression. He showed that in the preseason against Houston, where he was really just aggressive and just hitting people. We need that type of guy that can hit and hit hard and really bring the pain again. We haven't had a kind of a linebacker like that in a very long time. All right. Mack Wilson Sr., we acquired him in the offseason from Cleveland, and he has been just nothing short of spectacular. He has been excellent in coverage. He's been excellent blitzing. He's just been excellent wherever you put him on the field on defense, whatever formation you want to throw out there. He's been great. He's missed a couple plays, obviously, but who hasn't? So I would love to see him back next year. I would love to see him back next year. Now, Shaun Wade, he's a pretty good player. He's not too old. He's about 25. He's been on and off this year. I don't have any negative feelings towards him. He's just a guy that's been able to fill his role nicely. Maybe a possible trade piece for a late round pick. Who knows? But I don't mind either way, whether he's gone or whether he comes back. Next guy is... oh boy, this is tough. Matthew Slater. This man will be in the Hall of Fame. He is by far one of the greatest special team players of all time. Of all time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's been one of the greatest special teamers of all time. He's been a leader in the locker room. He's been a leader on the field. And as much as I would love to see him come back, it's time to hang him up. No disrespect towards him. No disrespect to his level of play this season. Obviously, it's not been perfect, but still. I think it's just time for him to hang it up. I think it's time for another guy to take over in that position. And we might have that guy in Brandon Schooler right now. So, time to pass the torch to Schooler to lead the special teams down the field. Man, Matthew Slater, 2008 draft pick. What a player. What a player. The quintessential Bill Belichick type player. And he has filled that role immensely. So he will retire with 3 Super Bowls, and he's been a big part of each one of them. So, Marte Mapu from Sacramento State. He's been in and out of the lineup, so I guess it just depends on the scheme that they really want to push. He had a nice INT a few games back against Kansas City, where he ripped the ball out of, I think, Kadarius Toney's hands, if I'm not mistaken, or it must have been their tight end. Not Travis Kelce, obviously, but still one of their tight ends. But he's another guy that's definitely a prospect that you can look at with the ability to make plays on the defensive side of the ball. And if not, put him on the kickoff team. We need guys on the kickoff team that are able to get down the field in a hurry, and he has just great speed. Now again, Davon Godchaux, another great player, another great anchor that we can have in the middle. Possibly a replacement, I would think, for Lawrence Guy as that leader on the defensive line. So we'll see there. He's been nothing short of spectacular ever since coming to New England. And he's been with us since 2021. Another one of those free agent signings that Bill made back in 2021 that is definitely really... we had a couple that were a mistake, obviously, being Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, but he definitely hit on some in that offseason with Matthew Judon and Davon Godchaux. So say what you want about Bill. There are times where he does make great decisions in free agency. So, and of course also Hunter Henry, where he made a great decision there, picking him up. Really relatively cheap too. So, now lastly, Cody Davis. I'm sorry. He's a decent safety. He's a little bit older. He's about 35, I think. But I don't see him being a starting safety for our defense next year. I don't see it. His speed is not as good as what it once was when he played for the Rams. But still, he's a great player on the kickoff team. He's great at special teams. Another guy, another valuable special teamer that you need to really be successful. So that's for me. So I see Cody Davis staying. So there's a couple guys I see going. There's a couple guys I hope can go. And there's a couple guys where, I'm very, very positive about, and I think will definitely stay. With this loss, though, unfortunately, it gives us the most losses in the Bill Belichick era. So 12 losses. His worst season was the first year in New England, where he went 5-11. And this is by far his worst season he's ever had, at least as the head coach of the New England Patriots. You're going to have me go back in time to see how he was with Cleveland towards the end there. I know he kind of got screwed up in Cleveland by what's his face? I can't remember, that Baltimore owner stole a team out of Cleveland that's been there for God knows how long. But I mean, it really can't go lower than this. Honestly, it really can't. It is our worst record since 1992. That was the year where Dick McPherson was in his second year as head coach of the Patriots, got sick mid-season. Dante Scarnecchia took over. It's unfortunate that team they struggled and ended up with a 2-14 record. But shortly after that, things changed for good. Patriots drafted Drew Bledsoe. Robert Kraft came in, bought the team, hired Bill Parcells, and we were off and running. So maybe this is another one of those turning points for us where we can immediately turn around. We'll find out as we look ahead. But what's next, though, is the New York Jets season finale at home at Gillette in, depending on the situation, honestly, what may be Bill Belichick's final home game or final game period coaching the New England Patriots. Honestly, it's crazy that it feels like a blur that this day has come, because 2-3 years ago you were thinking, okay, Bill's going to be here until he, God forbid, dies, or until he retires on his own accord. But it's just, unfortunately, it hasn't turned out that way. Mistake at drafting at the quarterback position, multiple coaching hiring mistakes that have really handicapped the franchise these last few years, and then just poor draft picks and poor way to replace certain spots on the roster that needed to be replaced immediately that just weren't. So, but that's just how it goes in football. You never know what could happen, and unfortunately, it happened. It went bad in New England. So, if this is his final game coaching the New England Patriots, then I don't expect us to lose. I don't, because there's one thing that that I know for sure, and that any other Patriot fan knows 100%, is that Bill Belichick hates the New York Jets. He hates the New York Jets with an utter passion. Anybody can see that. With the moves in the draft that he did this past year, screwing the Jets out of a top offensive lineman that Pittsburgh drafted, or just doing what he does best to embarrass the Jets any chance he gets. Even though I would love a 4-13 record to help improve our draft position and get the quarterback that we all want, or hopefully would all like to have, but I just don't see Bill Belichick blowing it here, and just saying, screw it, we're going to lose this game. He wants to continue this streak against the Jets. He wants the Patriots to beat the Jets. He wants the Pats to destroy the Jets, because that is his competitive fire. He hates the New York Jets with an utter passion, and he's going to make sure that the New England Patriots finish this season with a win. But we'll see what happens. It's at home. I know Gillette's going to be very, very crazy because, I mean, there is a chance, like I said, that this is Bill Belichick's final game as head coach of the New England Patriots. So the crowd's definitely going to be going crazy. And obviously, it's a division rival that we all despise in the Jets. So I can definitely see us winning this game. Because honestly, the Jets are as bad as we are. Except their defense has been playing not too well lately. And their offense is atrocious. I thought the New England Patriots offense was atrocious with Mac Jones, but boy, this offense I've been seeing these last few weeks with the New York Jets have been absolutely terrible. Man, Zach Wilson, Trevor Siemian, just, terrible. But that's all I have for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about who stays and who goes. Let me know what you think about who the Pats should take in the draft this year. Let me know if this is Bill Belichick's final season. And if it is, who would you hire as the next head coach of the New England Patriots? Don't forget to like, comment, again, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Go Pats.